Okay, welcome to part two. We're going to talk about some tools and tips that I use when I am working with graphics and color in my own workflow. I primarily use these. I create websites sometimes. I'm going to show you some things I've done in my instructional design work, as well as just designing course materials and things like that. So I was thinking through what are the most common tasks I do, and what do I need to know to do that? So here they are. I'm finding free images all the time. I'm resizing things, recoloring and removing backgrounds. And I'll show you how to do that in a minute. I'm working with pictures and text. I'm working with different file types. And then I'm editing SVGs, which are scalar vector graphics, which brings us to this next slide. I think it's really important to understand basic file formats. So this is from the book that I had you read some parts of, which is called Graphics for Learning Design or something like that. And it has a lot of nifty tables and charts and such in that book. So these top ones that I've highlighted here are image file formats. So these first three, they are raster images. And what that means is that the file is made up of a whole bunch of different pixels, and each pixel being a different color. What that means is that if you try to expand it too much, you're spreading out the pixels, and that's when it looks pixelated or blurry. Out of the raster images, PNG can be transparent. I'll show you that. And then GIF, which can be animated. SVG, scalable vector graphics, are pretty nifty because instead of being a raster type, they're a vector type, which means instead of the file consisting of a whole bunch of different pixels, it's actually different vectors, like equations for lines almost. And what's cool about that is then when you make it bigger or smaller, it stays just as clear. It keeps the same quality, because it's working off lines that can expand and such instead of little pixels. It's really useful for simple graphics. Most icons are vectors. So I'm going to show you how to do a few things that I do a lot. I'm a big fan of just using what you have. So I'm going to just show you some things in PowerPoint. It's amazing how many things you can do these days with these simple programs, partly because they've gotten more and more advanced. And so they offer a lot of tools that make it so you don't have to use the more expensive things. So first I was going to show you some things with images. So this is just an image I found online. I just searched for elephants. And see, if I expand this, you see it's not very clear. That's because of the pixels. I'm expanding the pixels. You can even see some individual pixels here. So it's important when we're designing for learning that we use high quality images because they just help the learner experience the situation better. So let me just show you briefly. If I do a search, I did a search for elephants and I found this one. And this one was interesting to me because it's from Wikipedia. And usually Wikipedia images are open source, so I can use them easier. But what I did is I right-clicked and I said, copy image. And what I got was what I just showed you. But a lot of time you can go to the web page and get a higher quality image. So if I actually go to Wikipedia, this is my image. Ooh, this is much better. And I can download different sizes of the image. You might ask why you would want a smaller size image. If you're doing stuff for the web, larger images take longer to load. And so it'll make your web page take a lot longer to load. So using smaller images when you can will keep your file sizes smaller and help web pages load easier, as long as they're still clear and you can see the quality in them. So that's that elephant picture. Look at this elephant picture. This one was a higher quality picture. I just right-clicked copy and I just pasted it onto my slide. There's a lot of things I can do right within PowerPoint with this picture. So if I go to picture format, for example, I can change the colors really easily. I can change it to black and white, make it kind of like a line drawing if I want. There's a whole bunch of variations of colors I can choose from. Of course, I can crop it and I can change whatever I want. I can crop it to a shape, which can be nifty. I can change the contrast and things like that. But one thing that's extra cool, I think, is you can actually remove the background. So this is what it means for something to be transparent. You can remove part of it so that although you still have a square file, you can see things behind. So if I wanted to put a text in here, like I just put the word elephant, even if this text, it's on the top layer, so it's above the image, but it's still a little bit hard to read. And I really just want to focus on the elephant, not all the stuff behind it. So PowerPoint has a new tool called Remove Background, where it actually will highlight things to remove. It's not perfect. I hope it gets better over time. But like right here, I want to keep this part. So I can kind of draw over the parts I want to keep that it messed up on to kind of emphasize that. And I want to keep this part down here. I don't want to keep this little bit here. And then I have just the background, and then I can see the word clear. If I want to save this image, I could right click and actually click save as picture. And then I can save the image with my edits. Another way to save PowerPoint images, if you create something with slides and text and you want to share or save the slide as an image, you can always just go to export and change file type. And then you can choose your PNG or your JPEG here. I would choose PNG because I want to keep that clear background, and then I can save it as that. So that's really useful, especially because you can change the slides to be different sizes. So it's not like you're stuck with this size. I can change the size however I want. So I use this a lot for creating different graphics and images. You can use their smart art, their shapes to create a lot of things. Another thing neat about PowerPoint these days is if you're inserting an image, you can go pictures, you can look for online pictures right in PowerPoint, and Google Slides has something similar. I don't ever work in Keynote, but I imagine they have something. So I could search for whatever, but let's just say I want an animal here. I like those bunnies and I insert it. What's nice is it is pulling things that actually have permission for me to use. And it'll even put, I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. Oh, I made it bigger. Sorry. Let's fix this. Yeah, I don't want that. It'll even give me my attribution right here connected to the photo, which is nice. They don't actually put the author and stuff. So I usually go to the web page, what it's from, to actually complete that attribution. So I can say that exactly like who the actual artist is and such, instead of just by unknown author. But it's really nice that it gets that basic attribution on there for you. It makes it really easy. Another thing that's nice is icons. Icons are really good for just having a simple representation of ideas. And so if I insert here, I can insert icons already in PowerPoint. They've got a whole bunch. And these are the SVGs. These are scalar vector graphics. So I can choose a button and insert it. And you'll see when I make it bigger, it's still high quality. I can make it bigger and smaller, and it still works really well. So these are really good for web images, little icons you put in the, they're called favicons up in the search bars and other places, because they keep that quality without taking more file size space. Another thing you can do, what happened to my cursor here, is you can recolor them really easily. My icon's having a hard time here. So it's really easy to change the actual color of you can change it to whatever you want here and have that there. So that makes it really, really nifty, really handy there. There's a lot of other places to get icons. And so I'll show you a list here in a minute. I use icons a lot, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Okay. Another thing to know is there's a lot of open source programs that you can use to do things that are a little more complex. So GIMP here, GIMP is just like, it's like Photoshop, but it's open access. People have made it and collaborated together to make it so it's freely available. Basically, the user interface isn't quite as nice as Photoshop, but overall, it works well. It's the difference between learning management systems, like Moodle is an open source system, versus like Canvas is a learning management system that is not open source. They do similar things. It's just the user interface is a little nicer on Canvas because they put money into that. But it's the same thing. It works. You can do the same stuff. Inkscape is the open source version of Adobe Illustrator, and people use that to create SVGs or icons. And so if you want to get into more detail, I actually will use GIMP quite a bit when I'm removing backgrounds because it's a little more robust than PowerPoint, and PowerPoint didn't used to have that option. But you'll have a few more tools if you download these, they're free, but they have a little bit of a learning curve. So sometimes it's easier just to do things quickly in PowerPoint. There's also some tools that make it super easy to create really nice designs off of templates. And so let me show you on this one. So Canva, I love Canva. Canva is my favorite. I do a lot of stuff in Canva because you actually, when you create something, you can start with a template that already has really nice colors and fonts and headings and hierarchy and everything. See all these different templates? I can just start with one of those and then edit it. And I can change whatever I want on it, but it gives me a good foundation to build off of. So you see here, I do this for different events I do. I use slides in Canva a lot because it's the size I need for my web page. But even simple things like when you choose a color, like if I want to choose the color for this, it'll actually draw the colors from the pictures I uploaded. So that'll make it so I can keep it a consistent color across. So Canva is really great. You can create web pages. Well, I don't know if you can create web pages, but basically you can. You can create the designs for them. You can create Zoom backgrounds. I've done Zoom backgrounds with them, posters, any kind of thing, infographics. It's great for those things. And it's basically free unless you want to use the premium stuff. Adobe Spark, I have primarily used for videos. It has a really nice format for helping students make videos because it forces you to chunk things into small time spaces. So I haven't actually used these for these other collages or slideshows and such, but that would be something really interesting to do. And I'm sure that it works really well. My other thing, I didn't put it up here, but Capwing, I've used Capwing to create GIFs before. It works pretty well. I've had some students create videos with Capwing, and I'm not going to sign in right now, but it works really well for that type of thing. And you can check it out and see. The other thing is color tools. So this color picture, it's imagecolorpicker.com. And you can actually upload any image you want, like if you like the colors of a certain image, and it'll give you the color palette of that image. So it'll help you choose, and you can look at the colors right here and copy those colors into whatever you're working with PowerPoint or whatever to change your color theme. Another tool I actually use so if I'm in something like this, I use a plugin called ColorPick Eyedropper. And so if I see a color I want, I can actually just pull it up and I can get the code for that color. That's really useful when I'm trying to create more unity across something and I don't know the exact color. So I use that a lot too. And then the other thing is this Adobe color wheel. Adobe Color is really cool because you can choose different types of things. So you can adjust one color and it'll adjust others to match that theme. The other thing is it has these accessibility tools. So right here, it's saying A, B, C, and D, their conflict. They're going to make it hard for colorblind people. My dog is now singing a song. Sorry, this is a random video. All right, so that's something you can do to make sure that you're not disadvantaging colorblind people. But there's different color schemes. So you can choose a triad scheme, you can choose a square, you can change one of these and it changes the rest. So it's a great way to create some different color themes if you would like. So with that, And with my dog, he likes to sing to songs, which he's apparently doing right now. I think that's going to be the end of today's demonstration of stuff. From Visuals and Learning Design, there's this long list of resources. I'm so sorry. Of resources that you can choose from. And then at the very end, some takeaways. Make sure that visual design principles, they also support effective learning design. There's a lot of different tools that can help you with basic visual design tasks that you can find online that help a lot. And your dog singing in the background is not effective for learning. Anyway, have a great day. Thanks.